Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Hearts of Iron 4, the New Order, Last Days of Europe, with me, Empire Omega, and Empire of Japan. So, we are starting to turn things a little bit around. Our GDP is now dropping by a mere 1.88% per year. And I have a feeling that we might be doing soon much better, but we'll have to keep working on it and wisely investing the little political power that we have and hoping that no new crisis is gonna hit us. I'm also going to continue following Amur. I'm kinda interested in seeing what's gonna happen with them because Magadan is being pushed further and further back, so we shall see. Anyway, we ended with the event called The Cost of the Crash, which will further worsen our poverty rate. Police siren lights twinkled in the patterning rain, falling down upon Tokyo's nighttime evening streets. The sky was a dark blue, overcast with gloomy clouds that casted a great shadow over the mighty city. A small crowd has gathered around a crime scene outside the Tokyo Stock Exchange building from behind blue wooden barriers, each guarded by a policeman in a drenched raincoat. The chatter and murmur of the passersby that filled the streets were drowned out by the splash of rainfall and the echoing of police car sirens. Behind the stretch tape, police barriers, and patrolling law enforcement agents were the violently disfigured bodies of some of Tokyo's top economists. They were public names. They had written in newspapers, spoken on television, and were regulars in the facility. Now, however, their bodies were bludgeoned and pulverized in the black and puddle-ridden roads from the impact of leaping from the roof in what the police department is considering a suicide pact between the men. According to recent records over the last few weeks, their invested stocks and shares have plummeted in value since the crash, and their invested wealth had practically disappeared in mere moments. Mortgage default rates have skyrocketed, banks have begun to fall as loans could not be repaid, entire corporations have declared bankruptcies. Most alarming of all, reported homelessness and deaths have begun to fill up official records for the most of the prefectures. The recent economic crises in Japan have spawned many of these events across the empire, and although many big names in Japan have remained reactive in following the effects of the turbulence, millions of the middle and working classes have been plunged into conditions of a despairing economic depressions. Examined and prodded by investigators, the men's lifeless bodies were left uncovered in the rain beneath the towering stock exchange building. Well, brutal, but what can we do? I think we have just finished, we're gonna finish promoting the Filipino democracy, and we can't do anything else. I think this is a waste. It will cost us 10 political power, and yeah, but this one is, yeah, we can't do anything else. So let's just wait. One last thing. This one endorse Quentin Pedra's campaign. Endorse Sergio Osman Jr.'s campaign. Mr. Osman Jr. is known for his technocratic approach to governance and reformist mindset. His ties to Japanese businesses make him by far the candidate most aligned with our interest, and thus the one we should ensure wins by any means necessary. Red King's Mitra. Okay, let's support this guy. That one will run its course for 5 days, but we'll see what's gonna happen next. I still feel this is a huge fail. Just 5 more political power would have been enough, but alas, it was not meant to be. This is how the game treats you. And that's why I said that, the political power is gonna be our undoing. And we can't even at this point say, yes, let's save it, because we need to invest everything we have into the reconstruction ourselves. So, that's just how sad it is. Panisku Bond, Kaposu appointed Prime Minister. The hostage crisis in Odessa that has dominated Romanian politics in the last few weeks has succeeded after the neutralization of the Ukrainian insurgents and the rescue of the hostages. Sadly, this victory was short-lived, following the bombing of the Council of Ministers, an attack that had taken the life of President of the Council of Ministers, Panisku. The Piednostrovia section of the Ukrainian insurgent army has claimed responsibility for the bombing, leading many to suspect it was done in retaliation for the rescue operation. In the aftermath of the bombing, an emergency sitting of the council has led to Corneliu Kaposu being appointed by King Mikhail as interim president of the Council of Ministers until new elections can be held. For Transnistria, the territory has been placed under military rule by General Grigory Bastan for the foreseeable future. So what's going on here? Beginning of the South Asian Economic Union Conference. Okay, Italy declared war on Croatia, the West Russian Revolutionary Front declared war on the Tatarstan Republic, and the Committee for the Liberation of Peoples of Russia declared war on the Bashkortostan Republic. Well, at least Großgermanisches Reich is, sort of united. The Reichs were down in Africa. Der Krieg im Süden. The first things first. Inflation will increase. Der Wilderit. 1,000 years Reich forevermore. Beginning of South Asian Economic Union Conference. After defeating a recent constitutional amendment bill that would have removed a series of presidential powers that had been specifically created for Bose when he was still a member of the Indian Unity Government, it seems V.K. Krishna Menon has made good on his promise of diplomatically bringing together the two Indias. Today saw the beginning of the South Asian Economic Union Conference, designed to align the economies of both nations with the goal of preparing for integration. Hopes are soaring high across the subcontinent as a potential horrific war of reunification appears to have been avoided. While the superpowers watch on warily, top-level officials from both nations, including the Prime Minister and Bose himself, will parley in Kanpur to decide key policy terms that will close the gap between the more resource-rich West India and more heavily militarized economy of East India. Reasonable discussion? What happens to good old-fashioned fighting? Okay, so we finished the scout helicopter company. Let me just see what that would do for our units. Okay, scout helicopter company. Recon +6, breakthrough, soft attack, hard attack. Okay, let's put it on. We're gonna put on the Hakkō. So if we compare it to the regular recon, it does everything worse except for the breakthrough and a little bit of reconnaissance, which I'm pretty sure is based on the available scout helicopters, which, aren't all that great, but breakthrough goes up, hard attack goes up, soft attack goes up, piercing goes up. Eventually it might be good, but for now the company is fairly lackluster. So let us not deal with that. It's 1964. Okay, that means you guys are now available. Damn, okay, so these are some really good things we can get here. So improved assault weapons, soft attack plus 25% for the engineers. Special forces get extra forest, urban, jungle, and fort attack. Or this one is for the hills and so on. But it's a little bit ahead of time. So I'm thinking we wait, and there's something else that we can get. The signal company. Transport helicopter company. Have a supply company. C3I. Well, we're already working on the improved military infrastructure. What about industry? Industrial robotics, efficiency cap and factory output, production GDP, resource extraction. Still too ahead of time. We need something in the meantime. Okay, let's go with the... Let's go with the silhouette deduction, I guess. No, let's go with synthetic aperture guidance radar, because that will lower the air accidents chance and penalties we're getting. The Second World War has seen the first serious use of radar technology in the history of warfare. By its terminus, conventional radars were able to create 2- and 3-dimensional images of objects miles away. Okay. Now we go with the reconstruction. We went all the way to 85%. Hopefully it's gonna help. It helped with the GDP, it gave them some political power and some other stuff, so let us pray that it's good. Forge our own path is gonna give us 45 political power. Now, do we invest that into something that we want? Or do we... Yeah, we are gonna bail out struggling businesses. Increases GDP and lowers poverty rate, which seems like a worth a... Yeah, the poverty rate is increasing really rapidly. Okay, so we finished upgrading the submarines. But I think we haven't done anything... No, we did! Okay, we upgraded you as well. We have a new destroyer over here. Okay, so we're gonna go here and patrol. And we have 3 more. We don't. Okay, you can join the first fleet as well. And let me see the cruisers. Okay, why not? The batteries could be upgraded though. So if we just upgrade it, wait, what do you have? It's a 14.cm cannon. Light cruiser battery. It's really not a worth a cause for an upgrade. Okay, you can actually go and rail. Okay, you guys, the destroyers, can go upgrade. Okay, sure, that sounds like a good idea. Let's make our units more effective. We don't need more of them, we need them more effective. Assistant reconstructions and then experts. Okay, the electric rural electrification efforts are gonna go. I'm gonna pay a little bit, but GDP is gonna increase. Well, GDP growth, yeah, GDP growth is gonna increase. Okay, Philippines, I did my best. I apologize. Please don't collapse into a pile of rubble. A spark and a powder keg. History's infamous incidents seem spontaneous above all. Violent, sure, but they are violent insofar as a thunderbolt is violent. Loud, painful, brief, and sudden, leaving bystanders with no time to do anything but react. Viewed alone, incidents appear the product of random chance. One may die to a crazed gunman anytime, anywhere, and for no discernible reason. Discernible, but not non-existent. The charges that propel thunderbolts are invisible, yet they are there regardless, and their presence is seen, heard, and felt by those who witness their deafening work. One can imagine that the invisibles which predate history incidents but bring them about, wars that drive millions to poverty, ineffectual leaders who promise much but fulfill little, recovery in the palaces but not in the squalid streets, things which make madmen or gunmen, and things which Manila as of 1964 had one day. All that remained to set off the Manila incident was one brief violent spark. Misfortune found Misfortune found one in a drunkard with a nambu. Among those hardest hit by the reconstruction were the Makapili, those glorified auxiliaries of the Philippine constabulary. Their numbers had grown beyond the neighborhood watch. They were envisioned as, when the war ended, the cash-strapped assembly sent over half home with no pay, though they were allowed their weapons as mementos. 4 such men carried their mementos with them in a roadside bar. What happened next is the subject of hearsay, but the most repeated tale is that they were playing Russian roulette, unaware that one of the pistols had a bullet in its chamber. One inebriated fellow dared the loaded pistol to shoot, so he did. The bar erupted as blood and grey matter painted its wall. Bodies littered the nearby street several jumpy constabularies later. What began as a bar fight snowballed into a riot that engulfed Manila, while its assemblymen bickered in Session Hall until they fled to the summer capital of Baguio. This tragicomic act began the one chapter of Philippine history while beginning the equal depressing next. Tears of laughter, tears of sorrow. Chaos engulfs the city of Manila and by extension, the nation itself. So wait, what's going on? Can we see something? No, national focus. Political power gain. I don't see any modifier, but it is quite possible that it's gonna be pain. Reichskommissar Ukraine has defeated the Republic of Ukraine as the breadbasket of the Reich bleeds. No, I'm alive. I will live forever. I have my heart what does not die. Okay, so Far Cry's 19 has been incorporated. I wonder what they're gonna do with Poland. Reichskommissariat Ukraine won. And what was this? The Commie-Soviet Republic declared war on the Principality of Vyatka. Okay, so more wars in the neighborhood. So forge our own path. The assembled Yokosankai was rather a pleasant sight, and the meeting within the Diet chambers was proving to not be one of those rare scenarios. He trusted few factions to act not in their own self-interest, and fewer still he could trust to act for the benefit of Japan. It was clear the politicians were waiting for him, however, so Kaya began his speech. I want to keep this brief, but I have few words I'm sure some members among us would benefit from hearing. This party cannot remain divided. The disasters of the past have proven this fact to us, and each level of our government is somewhat responsible for this division. What is best for Japan, what is best for its survival, is the preservation of the Kokutai. Such division only weakens these structures, and I for one will not stand by and watch this happen. I will yield the floor back, but allow me these final words. Only united can this government stand strong. Faint applause came about as Kaya stood down, but not from the leaders of the said factions, Ikeda and Takagi in particular. Each gave the Prime Minister an icy stare, and scoffed with disdain as Kaya met their eyes. It did not matter. If they stood in the way of progress, Kaya would crush them like a cockroach. Cockroach. Okay, so in 4 days, we're gonna go and bail out the struggling business. So that's 0.5 GDP growth, another 0.45, so that will remove about, yeah, we're gonna drop to about minus 1% of GDP. Good. We can also do realpolitik. Nice. Okay. Aha. Okay, so 75. More political power. Let's get that one done. This one. Taxation. Income weight. Bonus effectiveness. Now we need political power. The Yokosankai is a ravenous beast, one that spits and chews all those that think they can fully control it. A coke stage, backstabbing, gossiping, and betrayals mark its history. The names of those foolish enough to face it head-on painted on the walls like Hirota Koki. We will not commit the same mistake. It's time to cash in some favors. So House of Peers support increases, political power increases as well. So, Germany restores control over Central Europe. The Reichsprotectorate of Bohemia and Moravia, together with the Netherlands and Denmark, were the territories where Germanization proved the most successful. When Germany fractured, these territories entered a state of political upheaval, but in the end the lands this close to the beating heart of the Reich couldn't be allowed to become a potential threat. As such, it was no surprise when the new government in Germania decided to quickly move in and seize back such important provinces, especially the Netherlands with their trade ports and Bohemia with its industrial core. With friendly governments in Copenhagen and Amsterdam and the total annexation of the Reichsprotectorate, the new Führer has secured control over Central Europe. It was to be expected. So, Netherlands. Deutschland. Reichskommissar Denmark. Okay. The Central Siberian Republic has conquered the Karakorum government of Eurotea in the struggle for fate of Russia. Jean Bichonnon elected as president of France. Wait, can we? 2 more days. Okay. The political crisis in France, ignited by the bitter defeat in the recent Burgundian invasion and the puzzling abduction of former President Tikhevinaku, seemed to have been resolved. The Assemblée Nationale has elected Jean Bichonnon, leader of the technocratic wing of the Parti National. Okay, Amour is advancing. Ah, okay. Nice. Amour has grown. Yep, their GDP more than doubled. Okay, 3 decades of exile avenging the first breath of fascist Russia. Okay, they're doing good. Now let's hope they can defeat Irkutsk. Where were we? Wait. Okay, sorry about that. Too many things happening at once. The Assemblée Nationale has elected Jean Bichonnon, leader of the technocratic wing of the Parti National, as president of the French state. Huh. Who is he? Did the war wave... It ended? Okay, Ordenstadt, Burgund. Okay, so they took Paris. Jean Bichonnon. Okay, I missed the fact that the war between them ended. Huh. Bichonnon has been carried to victory by the strong support he enjoys among the industrial barons that form much of France's upper class. Bichonnon is especially known for Plan Prime, an audacious and controversial economic plan designed to achieve French self-sufficiency from the German economy, which has been questioned by many politicians in the country to be nothing short of madness. Some circles have accused Bichonnon of connections to a shady synarchist cabal, and the unpopularity of the new president among the armed forces and the French population might spell an early end for his rule. Ami, la France nous attend. What awaited them there? An anonymous staffer for an assemblyman would recall the events of far from the butchered coup entails, as peaceful if tense. Indeed, tense would be an understatement when describing the National Assembly as they congregated in Baku's Burnham Park. Okay, so this is from the Philippines. Nice field grown. No, bailout. Yep. Bailout the business. Okay, real GDP growth now down to minus 1.2%. Euro deficit is insane, though. What was left of it, at least, with much of the constabulary having either deserted or joined the rioters themselves, and the much reduced 14th Army having withdrawn from the capital beforehand, the fleeing buses were fattened hence for vengeful mobs. The headcount them after tallied around 6 of the 120 assemblymen and their families as missing. Somber news for an already dismal day. It was then when General Masazume Inada, hero of the hour, rendezvoused with the assemblage with a battalion of men in tow. Explanations being rebuffed with a wave of hands as he delivered his own announcement. By the powers bestowed upon him by the Emperor, the National Assembly was hereafter disbanded. The 14th Army shall personally oversee the pacification of the capital and environs. Until then, the assemblymen were free to stay in the Casa Vallejo. Again, the new, now former government didn't lash out. With what army, anyhow? Neither were they gunned down piecemeal. Most accepted their fate and made accommodations for them and theirs in the city's oldest hotel. They have time. They can wait the chaos out for years, if need be. Only the rector stayed behind, gazing at the pool. What went inside his head nobody knew, but the very same staffer caught a glimpse of the ugly, tear-filled reflection. While he had seen his country die again and again and again and again, the islands burn. Standoff of the Channel. So wait, Reichskommissariat Ukraine has defeated the Ukrainian state. Okay, and now they're probably after the Ukrainian Swift Republic. Diokhotan on his knees. So standoff in the Channel. As the German build-up against Britain grew larger, it seemed as if the newly free Britain's fate was sealed. An assumption that has been dramatically disproven today. In a shocking move, the United States has openly deployed its navy into the waters around southern England, clearly in an effort to dissuade any attempt of a Sea Lion II. In response, the Reich has bitterly condemned the act and so far is refusing to back down to the American show of force over what was once considered the inviolable bulwark of the pact. Both sides are now locked in a standoff against each other. In a massive escalation of the ongoing Channel crisis, surging already high tensions over conflicts in Africa. With the specter of war now in the air, the world holds its breath in fear to see what will become of the closest confrontation between Germany and the free world since World War II. The world ages closer to midnight. Does it? Doesn't seem like it. And look at how Reich is just torn. Diokhotan on his knees. Finally something good though. He doubled over, sweat streaming from his forehead. A few coins spilled from his pocket, which he picked up with pork sausage fingers. It wasn't enough. He looked up from the floor on the metro station. Onlookers glaring in amusement and confusion. A couple passersby spat on him. Others laughed out loud in front of his gloomy figure. The sweat continued to roll, forming a puddle beneath his heavy legs. He snatched a piece of cloth from his reeking tuxedo and wiped his forehead. It did little to alleviate the perspiring steam from his balding scalp. His glasses dropped to the ground, under which a commuter accidentally stomped forward. Losing all hope, he pushed himself to his knees, groveling at the feet of the people passing by. "Please, a few coins. I just need to get home, please." The crowd formed, whispering between themselves about the humiliating sight in front of them. A porky businessman, no doubt. fresh from the stock market floor. With a snap of the fingers, it was gone. A lifetime of investments and build-up from speculation. All vanished in an instant, and with it gone, the man had no choice but to display his shame to thousands for a few coins. The station was filled with rushing onlookers and commuters, but emptied of any mercy or compassion. A young man with fire billowing in his eyes stepped forward and whispered, "No." He then spat onto the businessman's forehead, and with that the crowd dispersed for the trains. The businessman slumped back against the wall, dejected, the spit joining his sweat. The society is breaking up pretty badly. What can we do? Okay, so we're gonna bail out the struggling business, and our politics will be done in 27 days. Okay, so that is exactly when we can do this, and I think we might go with the privatized state assets. Now that decreases public approval. So prop up struggling banks. I don't want to do the income tax cuts. The austerity measures would be... Well, if we have enough, we can do this one. No, this one. Inflation decrease, GDP growth decrease, but that's fine. Poverty will begin to worsen. But if we do have enough, it won't matter. Yeah, propaganda campaign is 50-80. We should have enough for that. So let's do that. You need to take some hard measures, but the lowering of the inflation so much will put us to positive, but then we lose a little bit of growth. Well, we'll see. We'll be slightly down. The Manoa crisis. Shocking news have arrived from the heart of the Orient's peril as reports of casualties from the city flood in day by day from what is now dubbed the Manoa incident. The unraveling of an unknown series of events has caused the capital city of the victorious Second Philippine Republic to fall into disarray, with rioters seen wreaking havoc in the streets. Some speculate that this was caused by a botched reconstruction campaign to rebuild the country in the aftermath of the Jawa, but no one knows for sure. With Manoa in anarchy, screw you guys, taking jab at me like that. And you knew that would work. With Manoa in anarchy, 14th Army General Masazumi Inada disbanded the National Assembly shortly after its members relocated to the northern city of Baguio. He has since invoked his powers to preside over an interim military government until Manila is pacified. News organizations are finding it difficult to attain more details on the unfolding situation, as the city is deemed to be too dangerous to venture into. Pray for their survival. Well, we can't do anything else. So anyway, with that said, thank you very much for joining me, and I'll see you in the next episode.